My mother didn't ask. She didn't hesitate. She just texted me. Please don't come. The family wants a drama-free wedding. 10 seconds later, before I could even process what I was reading, my sister Chloe liked the message. A small digital heart pressed onto words that erased me from her wedding. Like I was an inconvenience, not a sister. Like excluding me was some thoughtful gesture instead of an execution. I felt the air tighten. That sharp, silent fracture you only hear inside your own chest. The kind that doesn't echo, doesn't announce itself, just settles deep and changes the way you breathe. I stared at the screen, waiting for the follow-up that never came. So I typed back, steady and polite, the way I'd been trained. Great choice. Then you'll be free of my payments, too. I expected outrage, confusion, at least a phone call. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. The real shock wasn't what they sent that morning. It was what I uncovered afterward. My name is Rebecca, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the one who keeps everything running. That's how my mother, Linda, explains it, though never with warmth. She says it the way someone talks about a dependable appliance, useful, reliable, easily taken for granted. Growing up, I learned early that in our family, usefulness ranked higher than belonging. From the outside, we looked flawless. Matching sweaters on holiday cards, carefully posed smiles at loud brunch spots, gifts wrapped in identical paper with identical bows. But beneath all that symmetry, the imbalance was obvious. Chloe was the centerpiece. I was the structure holding everything up. Linda cultivated that arrangement with precision. She guarded Chloe like something fragile and priceless. Every inconvenience was redirected toward me. Every problem bent in my direction. My father, Peter, stayed mostly quiet. He adjusted his glasses, sipped his coffee, offered a non-answer, and let Linda decide everything. I used to believe silence meant neutrality. It took me years to understand silence can be consent. I didn't realize how deeply I'd absorbed my role until Chloe got engaged. Suddenly, every conversation, every group chat, every casual dinner began with the same phrase. Rebecca, can you handle this? And I always did. At first, because I wanted her to have a beautiful wedding. Then, because Linda framed every request like a duty, something decent people simply did. Eventually, it stopped feeling like a choice at all. I became the person who paid deposits, scheduled vendor calls, built spreadsheets, soothed meltdowns no one else wanted to deal with. My job as an office coordinator downtown made it easier. People there trusted me to stay organized, calm, precise. They didn't see me spending lunch breaks negotiating with florists. They didn't see me leaving early to sign contracts Chloe never bothered to read. They didn't feel the strange mix of pride and nausea every time I opened my banking app and watched the balance drop for someone else's dream. The only person who ever questioned this arrangement was my grandmother, Grace. She lived quietly, spent her afternoons at the community center and kept old receipts in a small wooden box beside her armchair. Years ago, she pressed that box into my hands and said, "You don't have to pay for a place in your own family, my girl." I laughed then, brushing it off as drama, but the box felt heavier than paper should. I started visiting her whenever Linda's house felt too sharp, too tense. Sitting near Grace softened something in me. She'd touch my elbow, study my tired face, and say, "They love you, but they don't see you." It hurt because it was true. As the wedding approached, the imbalance deepened. Chloe floated from idea to idea, unbothered by logistics. Linda conducted everything like an orchestra, and I opened my wallet again and again. No one asked if I could afford it. No one asked if I wanted to keep doing this. They assumed I would. And I kept telling myself it was temporary, just until the wedding, but families don't change after weddings. They change when someone finally refuses. I didn't know it yet, but that someone was about to be me. The first crack appeared on a gray Tuesday morning. I was at my desk downtown sorting schedules when a message from the wedding planner buzzed my phone, just confirming we moved today's meeting to 2 p.m. per Linda's request. "See you there." I frowned. No one had told me. I reread it, hoping I'd misunderstood. I checked the family group chat. Nothing. My texts, nothing. Somehow the meeting had been moved without me by Linda, and everyone assumed I'd adapt. I texted Chloe. Did the meeting change? The typing dots appeared, disappeared, returned. Finally. Yeah. Mom said you'd catch up. Don't stress. The words sat there heavy and familiar. Don't stress was what Chloe said whenever she wanted me to clean up a mess without asking questions. That night at Linda's house, the tension wore a friendly mask. Chloe flipped through a glossy binder at the kitchen island. Becca, look. We're thinking of upgrading the photography package. The premium one is only about 10 grand. Totally worth it for the memories. I asked quietly. Linda didn't even look up. You handle the payments anyway. It's easier if everything stays consistent. Chloe smiled like it was praise. You always cover these things. The sentence landed hard. A compliment shaped like a command. At brunch the following weekend, the air smelled like burnt toast and citrus cleaner. Linda praised Chloe's color palette, then glanced at me with a thin smile. The planner really trusts Chloe's judgment. She has the eye for these things. The pause afterward was deliberate. I folded my napkin and stared at the table until the pattern blurred. Later in the group chat, my suggestion about adjusting the guest count went unanswered. But when Linda posted a passive-aggressive comment about how some people don't understand weddings, Chloe tapped a heart on it. A heart. A tiny symbol that said everything out loud. The final straw arrived, disguised as routine paperwork. Late one afternoon, an invoice landed in my inbox. An early payment request for a service I hadn't approved. Confused, I called the planner. Oh, she said gently. Linda and Chloe mentioned you'd handle it. They said you always do. Something drained out of me then. Something loyal, something tired. Minutes later, right on cue, Linda's text arrived. Please don't come. The family wants a drama-free wedding. And just beneath it, Chloe's heart. That's when the fog lifted. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't forgetfulness. It was coordinated. A plan I was never supposed to question. I stood in my apartment afterward, surrounded by the hum of the refrigerator and distant traffic, feeling like my life had been muted, drama-free. The phrase looped calmly in my head. I didn't cry. Instead, everything went still. I walked to my desk, crowded with neatly labeled folders. Payments, contracts, invoices, timelines. I touched each one like I was touching evidence of a life built for other people. Not because they asked, because they expected it. My phone buzzed again. For a second, I braced myself, but it was Grace. Come by if you need air. 6 words that cracked something open. I drove to her place in silence. She didn't ask what happened. She saw it. We sat in her living room, the wooden box visible on the shelf. You kept every paper that mattered to everyone else, she said softly. Maybe it's time to keep something for yourself. When she told me to stop making it easy for them to use me, it didn't ignite anger. It ignited clarity. That night, I opened my laptop again. Not as the fixer, not as the backup plan, but as the name printed on every agreement. I reviewed each contract slowly. The venue installments, the florist deposit, the lighting upgrades, the tastings Chloe demanded, the changes Linda authorized. Each document had one thing in common. My name, my authority, my payments. The exhaustion of years lifted as I typed the first email. I am canceling further charges under my account. Please confirm that no additional payments will be processed. It felt almost administrative, almost dull, yet it rearranged the power structure of my entire family. Then another email and another, a series of small legal boundaries reshaping a lifetime of being the fallback. I ended with a final line to the planner. Do not charge further payments under my name. No explanation, no apology. When I was done, I sat back in my chair and exhaled slow and steady. It wasn't revenge, not yet. It was alignment, a returning to center. They had wanted a wedding without me. Soon, they would have to learn what that truly meant. I didn't expect the planner to call me the next morning. I figured my emails would take a day or two to ripple through the system. Instead, her voice came through my phone before I'd even finished my first cup of coffee. "Rebecca," she said gently, "we need you at the rehearsal meeting this afternoon. There are complications." Complications, a polite word for everything is collapsing and no one knows why. I agreed and hung up, feeling strangely calm. If they wanted a wedding without my presence, then they could have one without my payments. And if that created complications, well, that wasn't my problem anymore. Still, I printed every record, every payment summary, every approval, organized them into folders the way I always had, but this time for myself, not for them. By noon, I pulled into the venue's lot. The building was tucked behind a row of sycamore trees, all dappled shadows and quiet elegance. Inside, the rehearsal room buzzed with voices, vendors, planners, family members drifting between tables. And then, as I pushed my glasses up my nose and stepped inside, the voices fell into a stunned hush. Linda was the first to turn. Her eyes widened, and for a flicker of a second, she looked almost nervous. "What are you doing here?" she demanded, adjusting the gold bracelet on her wrist like armor. "I thought we were clear about the drama-free directive." Chloe, beside her, crossed her arms. Her voice was sharp but shaky. "You're not supposed to be here, Becca." I walked past both of them and set my folders on the table. "The planner asked me to come." The planner cleared her throat, stepping forward. "We have several issues with payments, or rather the sudden absence of them." A ripple of confusion moved through the room. Vendors glanced at each other. Evan leaned back in his chair, frowning. Linda's eyes snapped toward me. "What did you do?" "What you asked," I said calmly. "You wanted a wedding without me. I simply made sure you bought exactly that." Chloe scoffed. "Don't play coy. You're ruining everything." I opened the first folder and slid a sheet across the table. "These are the records for every wedding payment made in the past 4 months. Look at the name on each." Peter picked it up, adjusting his glasses. His lips parted slightly. "These are all Rebecca's charges." "Yes," I said. "Exactly." The planner looked apologetic but firm. "Without her authorization, we can't process anything else. And without the next installment, several services will not move forward." Linda's mouth tightened. "She's lying. She's doing this to embarrass us." I lifted the second folder, flipping it open with steady hands. "Here are the approvals. Every contract, every upgrade, every last-minute change, all under my account." I tapped a page. "The lighting upgrade Chloe insisted on charged to me. The tasting rescheduled twice because you wanted a different dessert charged to me. The additional seating Linda requested after inviting 6 more cousins charged to me." Evan folded his arms. "This sounds like you're holding the wedding hostage." "No," I said softly. "I'm reclaiming what was mine, and I'm returning the responsibility that was always yours." The planner cleared her throat again. "Mrs. Langley," she said to Linda, "without payment, we'll have to modify or cancel several components of the ceremony." Linda's face reened. "Rebecca, fix this." Once that command would have tightened something inside me. "Not today. I'm not your fixer. Not anymore." Chloe's voice cracked. "Why are you doing this? You've always handled things." I looked at her. Really looked at her. "You liked the message that uninvited me from your wedding. Did you expect my money to attend even if I didn't?" Her cheeks flushed. "That was just honest." I cut in. "Yes, it was." Grace stepped into the room, then her frame small, but her presence undeniable. She rested a hand on my arm. "She has been carrying all of you for years," she said quietly. But everyone heard her. And you mistook her carrying for obligation. Linda rounded on her mother. Why are you taking her side? She's sabotaging the wedding. Grace's eyes hardened. No, she's stopping the sabotage you started the moment you treated her like an employee instead of a daughter. Silence fell thick and humiliating for the ones who deserved to feel it. I started another paper toward them. These are the cancellation notices I've already sent to vendors. Nothing illegal, nothing dramatic, just simple boundaries. Since I'm not part of the wedding, neither are my payments. The planner nodded. Legally, she's within her rights. Linda shook her head in disbelief. You're punishing us. No, I said softly. I'm correcting the imbalance. A vendor hesitantly raised their hand. So, what happens now? The planner answered before anyone else could. The wedding will have to be scaled down significantly unless alternative payments are arranged immediately. Chloe's voice trembled. We don't have that kind of money. I didn't respond with venom. I didn't need to. Then perhaps, I said gently, you shouldn't have designed a wedding with someone else's wallet. Linda's breath hitched. You're making a scene. I shook my head. No, I'm revealing one. I gathered my folders and stepped back. This isn't revenge. It's accountability, and it's long overdue. Peter stepped toward me, then his voice low and almost broken. Rebecca, we didn't realize how much we put on you. I know, I said. That was the problem. The room stayed silent as I walked to the door. Vendors whispered. The planner exhaled. Chloe wiped her eyes but said nothing. Linda stood frozen, pride melting into fear. Fear of having to stand on her own. As I reached the exit, Chloe took a half step forward. Becca, are you really not coming to the wedding? I looked over my shoulder. You asked for a drama-free day, I said. And for the first time, I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. Then I left, letting the heavy wooden door swing shut behind me, carrying with it years of expectation, obligation, and unreturned loyalty. The world outside felt colder, brighter, like stepping out of a theater into daylight. I wasn't collapsing anymore. I was walking away. The days after the rehearsal felt strangely quiet, like someone had turned down the volume on my entire life. No more vendor calls, no more late-night texts from Linda demanding confirmations. No more invoices landing in my inbox as if my bank account existed for their convenience. Everything stopped because I stopped it. By midweek, the planner emailed a revised outline. The wedding had been scaled down dramatically. Fewer flowers, no premium lighting, a simpler menu. Chloe's dream celebration had been reshaped into something smaller, something they could actually afford. The absence of my payments left a visible imprint on every decision. Linda didn't reach out. Not with anger, not with apologies, just silence. The kind that comes when a person realizes the power they thought they held was borrowed. Chloe sent one message. I didn't know it would end like this. I stared at it for a long moment, then set my phone down. Some conversations only lead backward. The only person I saw regularly was Grace. We met at the community center where sunlight filtered through tall windows and the wooden floors creaked softly under our steps. She sat beside me while I filled out forms to separate my personal accounts from anything family connected. Just one more boundary made official. You look lighter, she said. I feel lighter, I answered. For the first time in years, my life didn't revolve around fixing someone else's chaos. The quiet wasn't empty. It was spacious, like a room finally cleared of clutter. I wasn't their safety net anymore. And I didn't miss it. In the weeks that followed, I kept waiting for guilt to catch up to me. It never did. Setting boundaries didn't break my family. It only revealed who wanted me around and who just wanted what I could give. Walking away from their wedding wasn't a loss. It was a beginning, a quiet reclaiming of my own life. If this story hits something in you, tell me where you're listening from. And if you've ever had to draw a line with the people closest to you, know this. You're not alone. Subscribe so you don't miss the